The WNBA's rise is easy to see. The harder question is what that growth actually looks like underneath. That is where the new CBA comes in, because a labor deal is not just paperwork. It's one of the clearest ways a league shows what it's willing to become. And anyone can talk about growth. Anyone can point to bigger crowds, bigger coverage, bigger stars. But when a league starts changing pay, travel, roster rules, player support, and the structure of the season itself, that growth is turning into something more concrete, more built for the future. And that's what makes this moment different. The WNBA is not just asking for a bigger stage anymore, it's starting to define what living on the stage is supposed to require. That is the part where growth stops being a slogan and starts becoming a structure. The new CBA turns growth into standards. Every league goes through it. Every time, baseball or a league goes through a new collective bargaining agreement, it acts as a stepping stone to building toward the future. And that's why this one was so important for the WNBA. It was the first time after experiencing such incredible success that the players and the league had to get down and agree on what the future of the league actually looks like. A bigger league has to pay like a bigger league. The clearest place to see that in the new CBA is money. The tentative deal would raise the WNBA salary cap from $1.5 million to $7 million in 2026, with the cap then tied to future league and team revenue growth. The player salary numbers jump with it. Maximum salaries are projected at $1.4 million, and the average salary slated at almost $600,000 in 2026. Minimum salaries in the range of $270,000 to $300,000, depending on your service time. And the number one overall pick in 2026 is slated to earn $500,000. Those numbers do more than reward players. They show that the league is trying to price itself more like the stage it says it now belongs on. A league that expects stars to stay, draw, and build its future cannot keep paying the league like a league that's still trying to prove that it deserves to exist. Just as important, the money is no longer being framed as static. It's being tied more directly to the league's future growth, which makes this feel less like a temporary correction and more like a different model for what the WNBA is trying to become. That is one of the biggest signals in this agreement. The WNBA is not just acknowledging that attention has grown, it's putting the real financial weight behind the idea that the next version of the league has to be built differently. But a bigger league does not just have to pay bigger. It has to feel bigger in the daily life of the players too. That is where the deal becomes more than just a salary story. For a long time, too much of the WNBA experience still felt smaller than the stage the league was trying to grow into. Travel was one example, as were the facilities, staffing, and the basic level of player support expected around the job. League-wide charter travel is now fully built into the structure, and first-class travel accommodations expand for league events. Facility and staffing standards are being raised too, including stronger access to physicians, athletic trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, and physical and massage therapists and nutritionists. The support goes further than that. Housing stays in place for all players through 2028, and then continues for players making $500,000 or less in 2029 and 2030, while developmental players receive housing throughout the deal. Family planning benefits are expanded. The team contributions to player 401k accounts increase as well. Taken one by one, those can sound like side details, but together they describe something bigger. That is the shift. The league is not just paying players anymore. It's starting to build a more serious version of the job around them. The deal also makes clear that a bigger league needs more room to breathe. For years, one of the quiet realities of the WNBA was how compressed everything felt. Roster spots were tight, development room was limited, and the margins for injuries, absences, or long-term player growth were thin. That is part of what a smaller institution looks like. It runs close to the edge. That deal, or this deal, starts to loosen that. The minimum roster size expanded to 12 players, and teams also get 2 developmental roster spots that don't count against the salary cap. The deal also adds salary cap exceptions for injured and pregnant players. Those are not minor tweaks. They create space to keep more talent, space to develop players who are not ready to carry major minutes just yet, and space to handle the realities of a longer season and a more demanding league without everything feeling squeezed all at the same time. And the season is getting bigger too. Regular season is set to move from 44 games this year in 2026 to as many as 50 in 27 and 28, and potentially growing up to 52 at the latter end of the deal. For a league trying to live on a bigger stage, that kind of room matters. It's the difference between a system that's constantly strained and one that is finally built to carry the weight. That is institutional growth in one of its clearest forms. Not just raising the level, but building enough space underneath the league for that higher level to actually hold. This is what institutional growth looks like. The WNBA is no longer trying to prove that people care. It's starting to define what a bigger league actually requires. More money, better support, more room to operate, and higher standards. That does not mean that the work is finished. It means that the league is no longer talking about growth in vague terms. It's starting to build the structure that the growth demands. Because that is the real difference. Momentum can make a league feel bigger very quickly. The structure is what gives a bigger version of the league a chance to hold, a chance to stick around. And that is what makes this deal such an important stepping stone. It's not just about improving next season. It's about building a version of the WNBA that can actually live at the level that its growth has created. But even that is only part of the challenge, because raising the level is one thing. The hardest part is making that level feel normal. And that is where this story goes next. That concludes episode 3 of this 4-part mini-series into the WNBA. If you've missed episodes 1 or 2, don't worry, you can find them on the channel page. Consider liking or subscribing, and come back tomorrow to catch episode 4. As always, we appreciate your viewership. This has been another episode of the Weekly Lens. We'll catch you tomorrow.